Now, hang on a second. I was just driving through Berryville and took a left at a big statue. Thought I was coming to the, you know our statue's down in Berryville, right? I guess that didn't land that one. Okay. Seriously, look at this podium. Is this a police lineup or podium? I got Scott Presler, right? Because you know all those registrations are totally above board, right? Scott's knocking on guys' windows in like Gettysburg. Hey, what, you registered? Leave me alone, man. Sign it. Scott Presler changed the election. Of course, Ambassador, has there been a better warrior or a better gangster than John Voight in Hollywood? The hardest. Excuse me, that's Ambassador Voight. What the mandate, the President Trump's giving you a mandate to clean up Hollywood?
Just part of it.
Just part of it. One of our greatest living actors, right? And pure MAGA. Andrew Breitbart and John Voight and Gary Sinise had a secret organization years ago. It was not the Illuminati. It was the Illuminati West Coast Division. Friends of Abe. Remember Friends of Abe? And John Voight, no, this kept the flame going for a decade. Behind the scenes, there were conservative voices that felt intimidated because they would lose their jobs. And we only had a couple of headliners, Kelsey Grammer, Tom Selleck, John Voight, Gary Sinise, a couple of headliners that would you know, step forward and actually say they were conservatives during the hardest days. Remember the Iraq War? The hardest days, criticized, fired. You had all types of writers and technicians that these guys covered for and made sure that they got jobs and they weren't fired just because they were Republicans or conservatives. Can we give it up for Ambassador Voight? And of course, Dustin and Jen. Dustin and Jen, I've known them. They've been down at the Wall. They've been all over the first Tea Party. Hell, you guys lived in a van for like 5 years doing grassroots, right? And Jen is absolutely the best. Dustin's okay, right? He's not bad. He's her side piece. You know, if you're going to get Jen at an event, she's going to do something. Dustin comes in the deal, right? Just that. Yeah, exactly. She knows. But last but not least, I never thought I'd show up at a lunch. You know, you can understand Ambassador John Voight. He's such a prominent guy. Dustin and Jen, they've been activists for a decade and longer, and they've been doing the hard work of activism, building grassroots. Scott Presler is a rising rock star in this movement, and quite frankly, it was Scott Presler that changed the architecture of the electorate, right? And particularly in the Blue Wall. Remember in the Blue Wall in 2016, you cut on Morning Joe? Because that's what my big contribution for President Trump is going to be. A little more nationalist. We're going to go Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And we go that every morning on Morning Joe, Mika and Joe, you know, Mika with that screwed up face, right? You know, actually sucked on a lemon. How would you like to wake up next to that every morning? Seriously. It is. Okay. Take the dishes away. No, it should be, the show should be named Morning Mika. She does all the work. I mean, he's kind of a clown, right? So, but no, every morning on Morning Mika, they'd be sitting there. Bannon's never been on a campaign. Bannon doesn't know what he's doing. Bannon's got Trump running around Michigan, running around Pennsylvania, going to places like Flint, Michigan, taking the president there. This is, you know, outrageous. Hillary Clinton never went there, remember? She didn't go to Michigan. She didn't go to Wisconsin. Pennsylvania a little bit. And we won. You know, this is how we won, is to pierce the blue wall, because people, the working class people, love President Trump. 2024, very different. If we did not have Scott Presler to go out and change the architecture, right? To change the architecture of the electorate, I'm not so sure we pulled this off, even with the MAGA plus, you know, low propensity, low information voters. Scott Presler has turned Pennsylvania to the new Ohio, and he's turning New Jersey to the new Pennsylvania. It's because of Presler and his work that in 2028, I don't know, it could be 400 electoral votes if we do our job, right? Last but not least, in a billion years, I never thought I'd be on a podium talking to a bunch of Trump warriors and patriots with my dear friend and colleague, Brock Pierce, right? He's much more than a failed child actor. I'm just kidding. Hold it. First thing I meet him, he says, Voight's in there. And I go to the ambassador, and then he says, yeah, he's rejuvenating my career, and I'm active with him now. I go, good God, no. Voight, you've done too much good work. Don't inflict America with that again. No, I'm just kidding. Brock's amazing. Here's why Brock's amazing. Brock's amazing because, listen, I can tell you this lunch is hot, and I can tell you this movement's hot. Because Brock's that guy you met in high school or college that knows, 3 minutes before the party goes down, you leave, you look around, where's that guy? He's gone. And then the party's like over. That's Brock Pierce. Brock Pierce can see over the horizon and knows what's going to be hot and what's moving. Now, my biggest claim to fame for the 2020 election, which nobody knows, I'm going to break some news today. I did turn down, it wasn't officially offered, but it kind of hinted. I did turn down to run Brock's 2020 presidential campaign, right? Only because Brock's got a better house on Capitol Hill than we have. Very nice house. No, but if you look at the issues Brock Pierce talked about, Brock Pierce is the forward guard of MAGA and the vanguard of MAGA. And I just want to give a big hand. Brock Pierce is the man. And Brock Pierce is the one populist that was at the crypto ball last night. Yep. And the only leader of the crypto ball last night, not from South Africa. I'm kidding. No mean words today. Okay. How many guys went long? What's the meme coin that came in last night? The fight. Trump. The meme coin's market capitalization right now, it's $20 billion for the 20%. It's a $100 billion market cap. Just saying, the future is crypto, I guess. We'll find out. On a serious note, and I want to thank Dustin and Jen because they've been warriors and grassroots. This fight look, you guys know, and particularly people around 2020 and the stealing of the 2020 election, and you remember, and I want everybody this weekend to emblazon this into your soul. January 20th of 2021, okay? When they illegitimately forced President Trump out of the White House, and he went to Andrews Air Force Base. You remember, we had the show on live, right? Because he left just about noon, right? There were no Washington dignitaries there to see him, okay? They had the political class in this city had abandoned him. He got back to Mar-a-Lago, and the only people in the Republican Party come down there is make sure he's a lion in winter, and they want to make sure the lion's in the cage, right? His popularity dropped in the low 30s. Even part of MAGA said, I don't know. Fox News did not have him live for 18 months, almost 2 years. Rupert Murdoch sent a memo out, and I hate on a celebration weekend to bring this up, but it's got to be brought up. Said we're going to make him a non-person, right? The reason that President Trump is back is that this audience, in the darkest days of 21 and 22, the John Voights of the world, the Brock Pierces, the people, the Scott Presslers, the Dustins, the Jens, the people that sat there and had his back. And through all that time, and understanding in the arc of American history, this story had to play out with Trump coming back. This is the hero's journey, right? And the hero's journey at high noon on Monday, right, doesn't end. At high noon, he's going to put his hand on his mother's King James Bible and take an oath to heaven, to God Almighty, to defend the constitutions against all enemies, not some, all enemies, foreign and domestic, right? Domestic. And I realize the President of the United States is going to give a speech that's going to bring the country together as he should, because he brought the country kind of together in this campaign, correct? So it's unity. We now know, and everybody's saying, oh, the oligarchs are going to be on there, the oligarchs, all these social media guys. I go, yo, oligarchs? I said, they're a creation of the Biden regime and the radical Democrats, are they not? They suppress your voices. They suppress President Trump's voices. Hell, war rooms kicked off everyone in perpetuity, right? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, in perpetuity, Spotify. I don't give a damn. You put out content, people find out how to get to it, right? But the oligarchs are in the Democrats. The only reason they're calling them oligarchs now is President Trump and you, the populist movement, broke them. Broke them. Here's what I want to tell everybody. When Rachel Maddow and all those guys are saying, hey, you got Zuckerberg and you got Elon and you've got Bezos and the ticket, you got them all. I said, hey, invite more of them. It is equivalent. You know what this is? They're not in charge. This is the equivalent of the battleship Missouri in Tokyo Harbor in September of 1945, and they're the equivalent of the Imperial Japanese High Command there to sign a surrender document to General MacArthur. Trump being MacArthur. This is a full surrender. He broke the oligarchs. The Democrats, they're a creation. Every one of those guys is a progressive Democrat, and they've all been broken, and they're there to surrender. Remember Silicon Valley Bank that was bailed out, the bank of the oligarchs bailed out by Biden while you guys paid for it? Don't sit here and tell me Trump's owned by oligarchs. Donald Trump is the 47th president of the United States with no help from the media, no help from the oligarchs, no help from the established order, no help from the lords of easy money on Wall Street, no help at all from the apartheid state of Silicon Valley. And Donald Trump is here to bring righteous indignation and break it all. And why is he going to break it all? Because of you. He is one man. He's like the American Cincinnatus. He returned from the plow when he had every incentive to stay in Mar-a-Lago and stay in his cage. What did he say? No way. And he said it finally the other day at AmFest. He said, knowing they had stolen the 2020 election he had won, he owed it to the American people, to this republic, and most important, to American history to come back. And he came back. On your shoulders, he came back and won the greatest come-from-behind victory in the history of this country. They're all going to rub up on him and tell him they all love him. And Thomas Paine told us about these people. During the darkest days of the revolution, they said they're sunshine patriots. They'll be there for the good times, or they won't be there for the bad. Do you honestly expect me to believe that Zuckerberg, as soon as Hakeem Jeffries tries to take the House of Representatives and impeach Donald Trump, that Zuckerberg and Bezos are going to be on our side? Bezos just took a medal from Biden 2 weeks ago in the White House with Alex Soros. President Trump is going to try to bring this country together, but you know what? The MAGA movement in back of him, we're ready for a fight, and we're ready for a fight at high noon. Everybody, all 5,000, every Biden appointee, you better get your bags packed, because at 12 noon you're out, and if you're not out, they're going to send guys to turf you out. Every U.S. attorney, every representative, everybody on a commission, you stole the 2020 election. You stole the 2020 election. Let me repeat this. You stole the 2020 election. It is a black mark on our country. And Donald Trump's here to set it right, and MAGA's here to set it right. Are you guys in or you're not in? You're in for that fight? They're going to Chicago. The mayor in Chicago is very mouthy. Hey, Eric Adams not so mouthy anymore. He's down as a supplicant. They're all supplicants. All of corporate America, all the oligarchs, they're down in Mar-a-Lago. Please take my check, take my $1 million check. John Voight doesn't have to be a supplicant. He's been in this fight from the beginning. Scott Pruss has been from the beginning. You've been from the beginning. Brock's been from the beginning. Dustin and Jen, they've been there from the beginning. We are not sunshine soldiers. We're patriots. And we prepare to put it online. I don't give a damn. They put me back in prison. I will never surrender to Nancy Pelosi. I will never bend the knee to Benny Thompson. Trump, 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 Trump. You are living in history because you made history. They're going to talk about this 100 years from now. When they report this, they're not going to remember Tucker Carlson or Steve Bannon or Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg or Brock Pierce, John Voight. None of us. We'll be forgotten in the long mystic court of memory of this nation. They're going to remember two things. They're going to remember this is the age of Trump. They're going to remember Trump, and they're going to remember you, the MAGA movement. They're going to say there was a movement of common men and women that stepped forward and said, just like in the revolutionary generation, hey, come and take it. And they took their country back, right? The fight starts at high noon. Okay, fight starts at high noon. There's going to be some unity, and President Trump's going to reach out. He's going to try to do his best. Every time he reaches out, they slap his hand back. Every time he reaches out, they spit in his face. Every time that he reaches out, they want him to moderate and do it their way. Well, guess what? We ain't doing it their way. We're going to get rid of all the Biden people. We're going to deport 15 million illegal aliens, right, in the war in Ukraine, and we're going to take on the lords of easy money that control this country. The big money on Wall Street control this country. It's got to be broken, and the person to break it is President Trump. Are you guys ready for a fight? I don't think so. I can't hear you. You ready for a fight? Because starting noon on Friday, on Monday, it's going to be a fight. Thank you very much. Last thing. I want to repeat what Napoleon told his marshals, the 12 marshals of France, and make it about our country and our republic. He said, when you set out to take Vienna, take Vienna. Thank you. Wow. Did he say, by the way, when he got up off that podium with blood shot to the head, he had moral courage. He showed his physical courage here because he's a gladiator. Did he say unity? Did he say, I agree with you? Say compromise? He said 3 words. Fight, fight, fight. Thank you very much. Honor to be here.